Welcome, everybody, to the Superhumanistic podcast, where we talk about all things health, wellness, and longevity. Thank you for joining us today. We are your host. I'm David.
I'm Jessica.
Make sure that you hit that follow and subscribe button on this podcast so you never miss another episode. We put out one episode a week on Saturdays. Also, make sure that you share this podcast with someone that you love who is also on a health and wellness journey so that they can live longer, healthier, and happier lives. And if you ever found value in some of these episodes, please leave us a rating and review. That will help others find this podcast, who can also find some health and wellness benefits here as well. Last week, we talked about cardio, more specifically Zone 2. So if you want to learn more about how to get into Zone 2, which is super important for longevity and to get those results that you need to live a very long life, go back and listen to last week's episode. This week, we're going to kind of continue on that path a little bit, and we're going to start talking about a different topic that's kind of related, though. So if there were one number that could predict how long you live, what would you want to know?
And not your weight, not your cholesterol, but something far more powerful and surprisingly overlooked.
Today, we're talking about the VO2 Max.
And according to leading experts, it may be the single strongest predictor of lifespan and health span.
So why VO2 Max matters so much? Experts out there have emphasized this for many years, actually. So higher VO2 Max, lower risk of all-cause mortality.
Yeah, so we're talking about reduced risk of heart disease, stroke, metabolic disorders, and even cognitive decline.
Some studies show that people with higher VO2 max levels can have dramatically lower mortality risk, even compared to other traditional markers.
Which is why many longevity-focused physicians will treat VO2 max like a vital sign.
So let's simplify it. VO2 max is the maximum amount of oxygen your body can use during intense exercise.
So in other words, how efficiently your body produces energy under stress.
Yeah, it reflects the performance of multiple systems, actually. That's going to include your heart, so the pumping of that blood. That's also going to include your lungs, so that's that oxygen intake. And then muscles, which is the oxygen utilization.
So when you improve your VO2 max, you're upgrading your entire system. So getting into why VO2 max actually declines.
So here's the problem with this. So the VO2 max naturally declines with age, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it declines faster if you're sedentary, not training your cardiovascular system, and losing muscle mass.
But here's the good news. It's highly trainable at almost any age. So next, we will jump into the 2-engine model that can help you.
So let's think of our fitness like having 2 engines. So engine 1 is your aerobic base.
This is everything we talked about in our last episode. So it's that longer, steady state work.
This builds your mitochondria, efficiency, and endurance.
This is where VO2 max is really pushed, short bursts of hard effort.
So now we're in that high intensity output, or engine number 2. Experts like Martin Gibala have shown that high intensity intervals are one of the fastest ways to improve our VO2 max.
So next, let's jump into how to measure your VO2 max. There are a few ways to measure it.
So one, of course, would be the lab tests. This is the gold standard in getting that number. A graded exercise test with a mask measuring your oxygen output. It gets us the most accurate, but not always accessible.
The next option is wearable devices. So smartwatches can estimate that VO2 max based on heart rate and activity. It's not perfect, but it can be useful.
Yeah, and then field tests. So simple protocols like your copper test, which is a 12-minute run, and then step test. So sometimes if I am at the gym and I go and work out on the treadmill or do the stair climber, you'll see one of those buttons that say like test or I think it says test on it actually. So you can go through like one of these tests on that treadmill as well, or any of the workout equipment. So it gives you a general idea, though, of what your fitness level is.
All right, next we'll jump into how to improve your VO2 max. So let's make this actionable for you. If you want to improve VO2 max, you need 2 key inputs.
So first is to build your base. So you want to be in that zone 2 cardio that we talked about on our last episode for 3 to 4 hours per week. This creates that foundation.
All right, next you want to add high intensity intervals. You want to do that about 1 to 2 times per week. So here's a very simple structure that you can use. You're going to do 4 to 6 rounds. Then you're going to do 2 to 4 minutes of hard effort and 2 to 4 minutes of recovery.
So our effort level should be at an 8 to 9 out of 10.
All right, next, don't neglect strength training. Muscle mass supports overall performance and oxygen utilization.
So, as we've said all the time, let's be consistent. Our VO2 max improves over weeks and months, not just days.
All right, so next let's break down what happens when you improve it. So when you improve your VO2 max, it increases. You'll notice that you have better endurance, faster recovery, more energy throughout your day, which is important, especially for work, and then improve resilience to stress factors.
Equally important for work as well. So long-term benefits, you have a significantly lower risk of those chronic diseases.
All right, so let's jump into the final takeaways here. If strength is your armor,
then VO2 max is your engine.
And the stronger your engine, the longer and better you perform.
All right, so if this episode gave you a new perspective on fitness, share it with someone who's focused only on their weight or aesthetics.
Because the real goal is capacity here.
And we'll see you next time on Superhumanistic. Bye.